Hello you guys, Wayne from 101 Animation, and this is going to be about scratch tests. It just means putting down minimal lines, getting your keys figured out, and then in-betweening from there, but in a very loose fashion like I've done here. So we can see how minimal I keep the in-betweens here. So what we have here, the keys and the breakdowns are all put in. And you can see how loose I put these drawings in again, and everything is there. Then I'm going to be tweaking it. So now what we have is the first movement of Rascal as he comes back from the starting position, and he's coming down into the anticipation. Note how quickly I'm putting in these drawings. Yes, it is sped up, but I am putting these in quickly. So I'm just putting it down. I know Rascal. I know how to draw him. These other two characters, you know, they're brand new, but that's okay. I'm just going to use them, the big shapes of them again. So then we'll proceed, and here he is. He's coming down into the anticipation. And there he hits the big guy on the screen to the left, and he hits him right there. That's my drawing right there. What you see right here, this is the drawing that I just put in there. Is just the essence of what's going on in the scene. And now we'll proceed. And then he comes up there. He hits the guy, he comes up, and now the guy gets smoked with a real hard hit. And now as he goes back, we can see the movement of there it is, there's the movement, and he's coming back, comes up, and there's another real gestural simple drawing, just getting what is commonly called the force into your drawing. And now we're going to go to the section where Rascal is hitting the big guy's screen right. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so what I want you to understand is when he gets up into that key, this is the key, and then I did the animation of him hitting the guy, and it's a cycle. But I've always talked about arcs, and I said you use arcs, meaning a round curve. It could be a drastic curve or it can be a very subtle curve. But about, I'd say 5% of the time, sometimes you use a straight line of action. What I mean by that is this line right here. So as Rascal hits him, you're going to see, look at this line right there, and you can see that's the path of action. So I just kept everything straight there because it's more impactful for a fight, you know, this type of action. So then he goes in, hits the guy. Watch this speed again. Comes up. So now we got another section where Rascal is going to be coming back. I'm fixing the nose, the volume. See how quickly I fix the nose on the big guy's stage right? Then Rascal's coming back into that anticipation, and now he's kicking the guy. This is the final blow. Again, it's going to be a straight path of action. Right there, you can just see that leg is stretched out. I don't have detail. I'm just animating the big shapes. And then as he comes up in here, now I will put in a little more detail because these are the keys. As Rascal goes back, these are the keys, and I want this to read even in a scratch test. And here's an overshoot where he kicks him. Again, straight path of action. And then I'm putting in the big guy. Note, look at the drawings. Look at the drawings. Just single lines on a lot of these. Just putting it down. Because you got to get, you're emotional about your drawings. And there we got the next key. And here's the guy, he gets hit. I want that to read. Look at the drawings again. Very simple and roughed in. I call it a scratch test because it's a scratchy kind of line. Now I'm doing the drawings as he works into it. Going back, and now I'm putting in an in-between there. Look at the drawings. Look how loose. Look how minimal I keep them. Hope this helps you guys. This is the part that's going to free you up again. Talking about the minimal drawings that I put in there. And as you see, when it's flashing back and forth, this is important. I want you to understand it's sped up. When I was doing it, that is me flipping the drawings back and forth, and you're going to see the flashes back and forth where it's going, those little flashes in there. All that means is it's sped up, but I'm flipping the drawings. If I was on a light table, it's the same thing as the disc. Rolling the drawings to see the movement. And then I just continue on here. I will do these kind of drawings all day long at times, just so I stay loose and free with it for animation. And here I got Rascal now. Rascal's coming in to that last pose before he goes down. And you can see I'm putting a little more drawing in there because that's important. That's part of the acting. I want to capture that attitude even in a scratch test. But now I'm going back to the big guy. He's starting to spin around, and I want this drawing right there. I want that look of the big guy right there. I want that to read for just a split second, but I want it to be clear when it's played at speed. And now what I've done is I'm putting in charts. I'm going to put them on ones just to describe the action of the big guy spinning around. Now this isn't a really fast action as he's spinning around, but there's a lot of perspective and I want it to be described perfectly, so I decided to put it on ones. That's another place where you use ones to describe an action much more clear. And then what I'm doing at the same time, you can see me putting Rascal in. If you could see the red and green drawings, you can tell how minimal they are, how they're just pure line, linear drawings. And I will go back and forth. I'll work on one character, then I'm working on Rascal's character. Usually I'll put the characters on separate levels, but for this demonstration I just made it simpler and easier for me. I just put them all on the same level. And there I go. I'm putting in more drawings. Right there, Rascal up here, just to make it read again. Working on the big guy. And if you notice, what I'm doing is, if you look there closely, I just put in that big shape of the body, and I'm thinking of the entire figure as one shape. And now we're coming to the end of the spin. Put in one more drawing. Here, now we're working on Rascal. Rascal is now going to come down, drop to the ground, and look at that drawing. See, this is the drawings that are about action, so I don't put as much detail in there on my scratch test. I will on my tie downs. When I go to tie it down, I'm going to put everything in there. But for this, I'm just putting in the big shapes again, putting in some stretch. Then he lands here, and here's a tight in-betweens, a moving hold right there, because he's coming up out of it. And then he comes up to his last pose. But I'm going to show you something interesting when he goes up into that last pose. And here, when he comes out of it, here's our smear drawing. A smear, a wipe, a blur, it all really means the same thing. It's not a cheat. Things like this actually happen in life. If you see a tennis player and they're filming it and they swing the racket, it will look somewhat like this. That's where they discovered it. Again, look at the drawings, just very simple, big shapes. And then we come down. Now there's the smear. Here he's coming in. Now the big guy is falling back. I made sure to get his expression in there so we can see what he is. He's like a big tree that just got stunned. I didn't want a whole lot of stretch and squash. I wanted him to be stiff, and you'll see that in the animation. So all I did was think of him more as a big tree falling down instead of a rubber ball falling down. Okay, what I want you to notice here is I took out this drawing. When I watched the pencil test at speed, it just didn't look impactful when he came up with the uppercut. And when he came up, it didn't look as powerful as I wanted. So this drawing I took out. and you'll see when I take it out, now it feels much better. Just by me taking it out. And this is part of the process, you guys. You animate it, you do the best you can the first go around, and then you take a look at it, and you got to be self-critical and ask yourself, is there something that's not working as far as your vision for your scene? And that was one of them right there. So now I feel like he's hitting them much better. And here's where he drops to the ground. So now we'll take a look at the whole scene, and that's basically the approach. I hope this helps you guys. Remember, just when you're animating, don't worry so much about drawing, thinking big shapes, and put a scratch test.